Hey y'all, it's your boy Colin, coming with you live for some real good cherry picking. Oh man, the pickings are so good right now. There are so many episodes of black mob violence, large scale, all over the country over the last few days. Let's just get to it.
It was Monday after school, an all-out brawl right outside Pete Knight High School in Palmdale. At least 15 people fighting, according to police. Several fights going on at one time, punching, shouting, screaming. Students recording it from different angles, uploading it on social media and sharing it with us. Even more disturbing, adults, mainly women believed to be parents, seen in these videos jumping into fight. Some people tweeted men were seen hitting too.
Hey, let's shuffle off to Buffalo for a large-scale episode of black mob violence at a track meet. Of course, Buffalo has nothing on Austin. People in Austin will tell you when you hear the word track meet, they hear Texas relays. That means large-scale black mob violence like clockwork. Whenever the Texas relays came to Austin every year, it was a mess. Everybody knows it. Let's go up to Spokane, where if memory serves, a bunch of teachers and cops were also assaulted in an episode of large-scale black mob violence. Baltimore's too easy. Anybody who's there will tell you in certain parts of that city, a good part of the city, there is now, it's like anarchy, large-scale black mob violence all over the damn place. Cops are powerless to stop it. The only reason we picked out this incident is that it happened recently and it had a great headline.
That the parking lot is starting to clear right where the shooting occurred. It appears now that police are loading up a car on a flatbed truck. Now this could be the car belonging to the gunman, and there were also some cars here that were struck by bullets during the shooting. According to witnesses, this started as an argument in the parking lot of Faces Club after 2 o'clock this morning. Officers Nathaniel Jones, an 8-year veteran, and Anthony Rubin, a 5-year veteran, were both off duty working separate jobs at the nightclub. They were alerted about that altercation, and when they arrived, they came upon a man in his early 30s holding an assault rifle. They commanded him to lower the weapon, but instead he pointed the rifle towards the officers. They fired multiple rounds, striking him. He was transported to the hospital in critical condition where he underwent surgery. Some witnesses that were questioned said the man shot his rifle prior to when the officers arrived. It's not known at this time if the man returned fire with police. A special investigative unit, as well as the district attorney's office, will be handling this incident.
It's a shame.
Torin Dragus is a lifelong Steelton resident, but lately he's noticed problems in his community.
There is a police officer down that hill, and they can't get through because of so many children. Now all the children are fleeing.
This is video Torin took last week of a large fight right outside his home. He lives near Steelton High Spire High School. He says the fight involved dozens of students heading home from school.
Adolescents are more than likely to get into trouble between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. And the fight that occurred, it was 3 p.m. on the dot.
It's a problem the community has seen more of lately. Monday night, Steelton's police chief spoke at the borough's council meeting, saying the calls have become far too common. In the video, Torin is clear about what he thinks the problem is.
This is what happens when there's no after-school program. And I went over and I spoke with the kids. I said, how many of you were attending the after-school program that had been shut down? And a good bit of them raised their hand.
Steelton's police chief telling ABC 27 he plans to meet with Swatara Township officials next week to come up with a solution.
I think if the police are interested in finding a solution, they will.
To bring peace back to the community.
These kids need a chance.
The Steelton Borough Police Chief also telling me that he hopes to get more involved within the schools in the near future.
If somebody wanted to say I was cheating by using a story from Detroit because Detroit is too easy, well, I stand guilty of that. But I did like the headlines here. We have one case of large-scale black mob violence at a place called Skateland. I mean, if you read my books, you know that we've done dozens and dozens of stories about black mob violence and skating and roller rinks and bowling alleys. Yes, it's not the 1950s anymore. And then, of course, we go over here to another let-out fight in Detroit. Large-scale black mob violence, people shooting each other up. Yawn. And when do we go out to Akron? So we had, large-scale black mob violence at a basketball court in Akron. The mayor shuts it down right away. Now, he didn't talk to that other guy we just saw who said, well, he knew why all these black people were in front of his house, fighting, destroying property, defying police, doing all sorts of crazy things every day after school. He said it was because they didn't have enough programs. Now, here we got the mayor shutting down a basketball court, potentially depriving these angels of some midnight basketball. Man, there's a lot of conflicting stories around here. Can you crazy liberals who are enabling all this crap, can you please at least get your story straight? Why don't we head up to the Twin Cities, St. Paul. Large-scale episode of black mob violence in a parking lot, one of these parking garages. Cops come in. Black people scatter. One person left with some pretty significant head injuries. And not one person within 100 miles of there says this is unusual.
In the wake of the crash at 76th and Villard late Thursday night, violence erupts. And according to a witness, at least 8 men start beating a woman.
These 4 or 5 firemen were standing around watching it like it was some big show or something.
Mark Gerchek says the first firefighters on the scene waited for police to arrive.
When several people are attacking one person, I think fire department employees should step in the middle. And, they got all this armored gear and stuff on anyways that they fight fires with, so I don't think they're going to get hurt too badly.
The firefighters did call for an upgraded police response for the fight, getting officers there more quickly and sending the attackers running. But Gerchek says it could have been stopped sooner.
And to me, just standing by and watching several individuals trying to kill one defenseless person is causing harm. If you're not helping things, you're hurting things.
Sometimes we have some difficult situations.
Retired Assistant Milwaukee Fire Chief Mike Jones, who's now a fire instructor at WCTC, he says as much as firefighters always want to help, they know they can't help if they're hurt too.
So firefighters have to make sure that when they come to a scene, that scene is safe so they can provide the service for the people who are injured.
It was just chaotic at first.
That's how Mo Mustafa describes the scene where a massive brawl broke out in the parking lot at Millstone Village Apartments.
A lot of police and a lot of people outside.
Crime scene tape stretched from one building to the next as Clay County deputies were on scene for nearly 3 hours. Around 50 people, teens and adults, were fighting.
I'm pretty sure it's over something, something that really isn't worth it.
A deputy on scene tells me the fight started Wednesday night and escalated Thursday afternoon, but he didn't know what it was about. Shots were fired and one person was struck in the hip. Officers say another person was beaten up.
The question I have is, why are our children getting guns? Why is it so easy?
Mustafa tells me most of the teens in this area go to Oakleaf High School.
You get fights over here, especially in high school, but none to the extent to where someone gets shot, so it's crazy.
Deputies spent at least 10 minutes looking into this car, and yellow markers were spread around the complex.
These teenagers, they are at a point where they can make the choice of right and wrong, and they're choosing to make the wrong choices.
Now remember, don't eat too many of those cherries, because there's a lot more cherries out there. And you know what happens if you keep eating cherries until your stomach gets real full? Well, that makes the black kids angry.